All right, Jeremy, we should be live. What's good, everybody?
Back.
We're back in business after one
Yeah,
week
buddy.
of not being here. We are at our eighth show now. Let's get right into things. Today, we got a lot of topics to run through since we weren't here last time. So, topic number one, we got Gervonta Davis's camp. Specifically, Kenny Ellis believes that there is a huge chance Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis fight towards the end of the year happens. There have been no negotiations so far. What are your thoughts on this one, bro?
Well, let's see. I mean, okay, first off, let me just say, if if it took the Loma fight falling through to basically get this fight, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
Just anything to see this match. This is the matchup that I would say the boxing community has waited for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um Obviously Gervonta Davis is, I mean, he's on the craziest run right now. The dude's a
Yeah.
superstar. Shakur is, trying to be a superstar, and he's gotten a lot of hate recently. But I think, you know, we, I think it's something that the world has been waiting for. The world is ready for, and I'm super excited. I mean, if it's one thing if it's like a news source, maybe like Mike Coppinger, or whoever it may be, um, reporting this stuff. But I like the chance of this happening only because Gervonta Davis's camp themselves said it. It's somebody from
Okay.
Gervonta's camp. But then again, these guys, you know things get thrown around a lot, and negotiations is definitely going to be difficult for this one. But I mean, fingers crossed it gets done. But if this fight happens, um, that's going to be super exciting. It's going to be super exciting, to say the least.
Yeah, no, if this fight happens, it's
Yeah.
going to be one of the best fights, I would say, just for boxing in general. Um, I mean, yeah, like if these two were to fight, it'd be insane. I would probably still lean towards Shakur winning a fight like this just because of his defensive style. I think he has more of an ability to win this fight, but I feel like I know how you feel, Jeremy.
Yep.
But before
And you
I
know what?
spill it, what
I'm
you feel,
gonna. Yeah, you already know which way I'm leaning. I'm leaning Gervonta Tank Davis. I'm leaning towards Tank. Um, well, just give us a quick breakdown why you think Shakur is gonna take this one, James.
well, I mean, look, honestly, like obviously just to get into it, I'd have to say that, you know, Shakur just has a defensive first style. He takes very little what do you call it? He takes very little risk, and he has that Floyd type of style. He takes very little risks. He's always trying to be defensively minded first, and that's kind of the name of the game. I don't think, in my personal opinion, it's not the best thing to watch. I think that impressive defense comes when you're in the pocket and you're really trying to knock out the other guy. I think that's kind of what the point of boxing is. Um, but at the end of the day, though, it really is just about protecting yourself first. So, however you can manage to do that is the way in which you do it. I think that definitely a fight between him and Gervonta is a great one because Gervonta has great IQ as well. I just think that Shakur, uh, he's going to win a lot of rounds because Gervonta has a tendency to give up a lot of rounds, and guys, he eventually tries to catch up, and he catches up with just his nuclear option that he has.
All
But
right.
I don't think it's going to be enough.
Okay. Well, let me explain. All right. So, um, I think Gervonta is going to win because obviously that he's got hands. We've seen it. We've seen it time. We see it. We see it fight after fight. He
Hmm.
can put people to sleep. He can. His counters are second to none. You
Uh
know,
huh.
his ability to read his opponent. I think.
Yeah.
I think. He. I think his cause for being a slow starter, and it's true. He is a slow starter. But his cause of being a slow starter and why he's able to knock people out in like the middle rounds
Come on, man. We can't be taking days off, Jeremy.
I know, man. What happened? But appreciate you joining us Underground Goat. Thank you for being here. But
Thank you
let
for
me
being here.
continue here. Yeah, that Gervonta Davis, hook is gonna. I think he puts out Shakur Stevenson. I know Shakur is a fantastic. He's probably the best defensive fighter in the game right now. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go with power. I'm gonna lean towards power on this one. I'm gonna go ahead and ride with power. I think Gervonta Davis's hand, that hook, and just his ability to read his opponent, I think that's what's gonna set him apart in this one. But yeah, hopefully this fight gets made. We should be expecting a good one, a close one. Sound off. Who you think is gonna win this one? Because me and James don't agree with this one. We'll probably have even bigger arguments with this, and especially if the fight gets announced. We'll see, but yeah. Gervonta Davis by 10th round KO.
I'm actually interested to hear what the Underground Goat says. I do think that I think Shakur's taking this fight. I don't think it's going to be that crazy difficult, to be kind of honest with you.
Not crazy difficult.
Well, it will be, but it's like I think that Gervonta gives up a lot of rounds, and against a young guy like Shakur that's probably been dropped, I would say like you could probably count the times that Shakur's been dropped in sparring and practice, stuff like that. And so with a chin like that, defensive style that he has, the Underground Goat's taking my side on this. He's saying Shakur for sure.
All right.
Come on, Jeremy was good. Man.
Hey, well, I'm going to say hopefully this fight gets made, and maybe this is either going to go two ways. Either I'm going to be laughing or both of you guys are going to be laughing at me. So we'll see. But let's move into our I'm going to ride with I'm going to rock with the casuals on this one, believe me.
Let's see how that works out for you, Jeremy.
Let's see.
We're moving into topic 2. We're going to talk a little bit of Andy Ruiz. He has a comeback on August 3rd in the undercard for the Terrence Crawford fight run by the Saudis. They always do a great job with their events, to be quite honest with you. The money that they have. They still have it in them is the question that we have, posed. Need Master Chief's thoughts. Dude, Master Chief, he's sleeping on the job too. I don't know where he's at. So, in terms of Andy Ruiz, I think that Andy Ruiz is a great heavyweight talent, to be quite frank with you. I think that he has fast hands. He has that kind of Mike Tyson stockiness on his side, great combinations. He really is that, Mexican Rocky figure that people love. He's a kind-hearted person, very hard worker. But I would have to say that age gets to all of us. And if he doesn't really get to the point in which he's like consistently fighting, night after night, throughout the year, it's really going to become a problem and catch up to him. It is the heavyweight division. I think that he still definitely has a window, but his window is for sure closing, and he should definitely consider really trying to get more active throughout, the fight, fighting and stuff like that. But I'm sure that after this fight, he's going to get pushed even further. The Saudis out there, they really love their heavyweight fighters. So I think that he's definitely going to have more opportunities. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I was going to say, whether or not Andy Ruiz was really, I mean, it's just, I'm just trying to think about it here. Like, was Andy Ruiz, did he really want to go back in the ring on his own, will, or was it just the paycheck that, that came with, Saudi Arabia, paying money to all these boxers to take part in cards like this? So I'm just gonna, I'd like to think that Ruiz is here because obviously he wants to go on a great run again. Maybe stake his, come back and reclaim some kind of throne in the heavyweight division. But I mean, honestly, I just think he's here to get paid, which again, it's never a bad thing. It's never a bad thing for a fighter, for a boxer to get paid. But like, yeah, I honestly think you said it best, where his window is closing. So now's the time for him to capitalize, really gauge like on why he's here. Think about what's assuming he wins versus Jarrell Miller. Um, Really think about
Yeah.
should he look forward to trying to go after a title again, or should he just be almost like a gatekeeper? Is he going to be can he can he continue? Basically, he is on the older side. But I mean, again, this Andy Ruiz, he has been in wars, he has been in battles, and he has fought some of the hardest punchers that on the face of the planet. So I would love to see an Andy Ruiz comeback, though. I would love to see him come back, make a run again. The guy's got a good personality. Big Mexican fan base, obviously. I feel like a lot of boxing fans are pulling for him. So we'll see what he continues. Obviously he doesn't look like or what you would imagine a boxer, but he's talented. He's good. He beat Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua was like a feared name at the time. So um, yeah, we'll see what's next for him. But I just I'm looking forward to his return. Hopefully, a good performance by him, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I definitely think that he could be more than a gatekeeper. I think that he can definitely be top ranked heavyweight again. I think that he has the ability and the power to do so. Honestly, the heavyweight division has gotten cleaned out. He's coming into a heavyweight division that's really
Right.
open and out there for him to get a title
Yeah.
opportunity. He could definitely get an opportunity at least fighting a top guy. But the question will be is whether he can get over that hump again like he did against Joshua, which I think he has the skill to do so. But
Right.
honest to God, truth is that heavyweight division, if somebody touches your chin going down,
Right.
most like 9 times out of 10. So he's playing with some heavy hitters out there.
Yeah. And I mean, he definitely doesn't look like he's like untrainable either. I mean, he's shown that like that he can, whatever his trainers need him to do, he can do them. So obviously for the Luis Ortiz fight, I believe he slimmed down a lot, and obviously his trainers wanted that. So we'll see how that plays into this, in his upcoming journey back to the heavyweight division. But we'll see, we'll see. Super excited for him to come back on that. And I don't know if we lost the combat sports guy, but hopefully not. Thoughts on David Benavidez staying at light heavyweight? That's a good one. Um, and we lost him. All right, all good. Well, then hopefully he'll come back. Thoughts on David Benavidez staying at light heavyweight? Honestly, I don't think he's gonna beat Dmitry Bivol. I think he could beat Artur Beterbiev though. I know a lot. Beterbiev is the guy's got 100% finishing rate. You know, he all his wins are by KOs. I think he's undefeated too. But I think obviously Artur Beterbiev has had his share of really bad health issues lately, and I feel that um, I feel that that takes a toll on a person eventually. And it's well known. It's like it's well documented his history of his condition. I believe it's like it has something to do with his bones. I want to say, but I know it's exactly a condition that's not too easy to come back from. So with that being said, I don't think I think he beats maybe Artur Beterbiev because again that condition is just rough. I don't think he beats Bivol. Me and the Combat Sports Guy have argued about this over and over again on this channel. So, but I would like to see him stay at the light heavyweight. Honestly, I mean, sure. I mean, there really is nothing for him to do at super middleweight at 168. I think that obviously David Morrell is moving up to light heavyweight too, and everybody wants to see David Benavidez versus David Morrell. So David Benavidez is also the mandatory for the winner of Bivol and Beterbiev. So I think honestly, I think it's a fantastic move. I think it's a good move for him to stay there. Obviously, Canelo is just not, Canelo is not budging when it comes to fighting David Benavidez. He's just not, and it's shown time and time again that Canelo is just, he doesn't want to fight him. So it's like, what David Benavidez is honestly gonna, waste his time at 168. There's really no point. He fought some of the best at 168, almost cleaned it out basically, and I think that's a good, that's the best move for him, really. I mean, I would honestly do the same. Um, but it's unfortunate, I don't think we're ever going to get Canelo versus Benavidez, but um, yeah, he might as well just stay at light heavyweight from now on. There really is no point for him to move down, up. I think up is maybe a little too much, even though he does walk around it that way. But again, those guys at like cruiserweight and all that, they're just massive. So, yeah. Thank you for that question, by the way. Appreciate it. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts. I think it's a good move. I think it's a good move because appreciate it. Do I think Canelo's petty for not wanting the fight against Benavidez? Honestly, yeah. At first, and this is something that I've changed my opinion on. At first I was like, oh no, like, Canelo. I mean, Canelo doesn't have to. Canelo, obviously, Canelo is always the A side in every fight and whatnot. Um, but I mean, at this rate, it is starting to show that he it's starting to show that this is coming from pettiness. I mean, it doesn't make sense, And even then, before fighting Jaime Munguia, Canelo Alvarez was like, "Oh, I'll never fight another Mexican fighter." And then, sure enough, a couple months down the line, or a couple weeks after he said that, he ends up fighting a Mexican in Jaime Munguia. So, I mean, at this rate, it's clear he doesn't want to fight the guy. And yeah, again, so that's something I changed my opinion on first. But yeah, it is definitely a petty move for sure. He's definitely trying. I feel like if he fights Benavidez, I mean, he wants to basically preserve his legacy, and taking fights where, against contenders who, obviously have built up quite a name for themselves. So now he's facing Edgar Berlanga instead of David Benavidez in September. Um, so I feel that he's going to continue doing that over and over until he retires, which nothing wrong with that. Canelo's the A side, and people are still going to tune in to watch Canelo. There's no doubt about that. So that's why I think, yeah, that's why I think he's able to, be this kind of petty, just because whatever he says goes. Yeah, that's basically. So yeah, it is pettiness. I think it is pretty petty to not want to fight Benavidez. But James, I don't know if you want to chime in on this, but
I'd love to chime in on this, Jeremy. I just joined back in. You gotta let me know what we're talking about here.
oh, we got a. So we got. I don't know if you want to give your thoughts on David Benavidez staying at light heavyweight. That was one of the comments, and then we got.
Who commented that?
Sonder in Paris.
Oh, Sonder in Paris. I don't know if Sonder in Paris is still here to listen to my response about this. I would say, staying at 175, it's the best move for him. I would say that he's at a higher weight class, so I think that he probably doesn't feel as great as he would at 168. It obviously showed when he was still here. Nice, appreciate that. Okay, so my interpretation of the whole thing is, he's got to make his own path. Canelo doesn't want to fight him, and when it comes to staying at 168, he could obviously fight a Morel. Morel is not really a very interesting fight, to be quite honest with you. I think that's a fight that's very winnable for Benavidez. He really gains nothing out of that fight. Morel has very few fans, to be quite honest with you. I mean, it's great for legacy, I guess, but at the same time, Benavidez wants a title. And honestly, it's also on the sanctioning bodies that they didn't strip Canelo of the WBC. They should have stripped him. They should have had Benavidez fight Morel for the WBC championship. But that's not what went on. So Benavidez has to move to 175. He's got to take care of business there and probably beat Bivol and prove to Canelo that he has no options than to fight him. And even then, Canelo will probably by that point look to retire or just really find money fights. Maybe even, I think Canelo would probably consider fighting somebody like Jake Paul by that point over Benavidez. If I'm honest with you, because it just seems like Canelo doesn't want to fight Benavidez. I mean, hey, kudos to him in the sense that he's a lot older. Boxing wise, this is like where LeBron's at. I mean, he's fought Triple G 2-3 times. He fought Lara. He fought, Mosley when he was younger. That wasn't really a challenging fight, but he fought guys, very complicated guys to beat. So he's kind of earned it. But I would say that legacy wise, it's definitely not a good look. But it is what it is. I would honestly say that it's honestly on the sanctioning bodies, and it's honestly on him for not fighting Benavidez. But Benavidez, he's got to make his own at 175. Yeah. Excellent analysis. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah,
underground.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Bro,
thank you guys for thank you for the question, Saunders in Paris. We really appreciate that. Yeah.
I'm having
a war with the
internet,
petty?
But yeah.
Do you think Canelo's being petty by not wanting to fight Benavidez? That was Saunders in Paris' second question.
Canelo's pettiness towards fighting Benavidez is like,
is it like a petty move, not him wanting to fight it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like petty on the level of like Floyd not wanting to rematch De La Hoya after their first fight. It's just there's levels of pettiness that you earn as an A-side fighter that sometimes you kind of just enact, and it is what it is. You can't take away from Canelo's talent. He's a very talented fighter. If he honestly fought Benavidez today, he would still have a decent fight against Benavidez. I think he still loses that fight, which is why he doesn't want to take that fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's being pretty petty when he says that he wants $250 million to fight Bennett. Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, there we go. Another good point right there. Yeah. He's pricing himself out. Tactic that we see really a lot nowadays. Yeah. Let's see. Well,
y'all got any more questions? Shoot.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jaime Munguia has our next. You want to go into our next topic? Oh, okay. Picks?
We got another question.
Okay, I got another question. Any picks tomorrow for the main card? I did a few picks actually, but what do you got, Jeremy?
All right, so let me start off with this one. We were going to get into this later, but honestly, I'm fine with getting into it now. So
you want to start the segment?
If you want, yeah. I mean, we could do it. Let's see. Okay. It'd be a little out of order. But let me.
Yeah, it was gonna be till later in the show, but we got our one of our segments, and then let me just make sure that I have my picks right on some of the stuff that I had picked for tomorrow.
I mean, let me start off by saying this. I think a lot of the only underdog that I'm really backing, and somehow he's an underdog. I don't know why he is an underdog, but I kind of disagree with making him an underdog is Paddy Pimblett. I think he's going to win that fight by decision. Yeah. I really do think he's going to win that fight by decision. I don't think Bobby Green is obviously a little older, but I think Paddy's as well. He's well-rounded when fighting, or let me just say this. Paddy's ground game is definitely a lot better than Bobby Green's, I feel. And I think if he uses that, he can easily, jiu-jitsu his way into a decision or something like that. So that's one of my picks. My pick for the main event is Leon Edwards by decision. The first fight, Leon Edwards was kind of working Bilal until obviously, Leon Edwards started poking his eye out. That's what I saw from the first fight. So I'm just gonna rock with it. Leon Edwards by decision. I've been on Leon Edwards a lot lately. I think if Makhachev chooses to move up and try to go for a double title, I think Edwards can still beat him. I don't know. Call me crazy, maybe. And then as far as the co-main, Aspinall versus Blades 2, this one kind of scares me a little, but I'm gonna go with Aspinall on this one. I think his momentum is just out of this world. But the thing about Curtis Blades is that he does what I call winning bullshit fights, where he, he's a big underdog, and then he ends up putting somebody's lights out. And that's what I've seen a lot from Curtis Blades lately, which is why I'm kind of like, I'm really torn in between that. But I'm just gonna rock with Tom Aspinall. I think the guy's momentum and just his ability to, I think he's well rounded. I think that'll, that's why he comes out on top. So my picks, if I had to make like a parlay or something like that, I would probably go Leon Edwards by decision, Tom Aspinall, Paddy Pimblett, Arnold Allen, and Molly McCann. That's basically what I would do. I would do like an all British parlay here, but yeah, that's basically my picks. Oh, and Mokaev versus Cape too. I wish that was on the main card, but they moved it to the prelims. But I got Mokaev winning. I think that he's just gonna wrestle Cape for 3 rounds. I think, and that's what's gonna. Yeah.
Well, Jeremy, we've talked about this card for a little bit now. You've changed your thoughts on a few of these. I would say that the two that were most contested with me and Jeremy, I told Jeremy, look, Paddy is gonna beat Bobby Green. I have no idea why. He's an underdog. An underdog.
Yeah, I switched my stance. I really thought Bobby Green was gonna win this.
I definitely agree with Pat. I agree with the Paddy Pimblett pick. I definitely agree with the Leon pick. I thought that Leon could even take out Bilal, but me and Jeremy have discussed this a little bit further, and honestly, Leon really does. He really is a decision fighter, but a great striker. Anything could always happen in this sport, but I would say that Leon by decision is a great bet. Also, in terms of Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades, that's a really close fight in the sense that Jeremy, you say that. That Curtis has a good way of just getting a lot of knockouts in fights. A lot of that comes from the fact that Curtis Blades has I would say probably some of the best wrestling in the top 5.
He's got crazy wrestling, and he has that one punch lights out ability.
Yeah. And so when you mix those two up, it gives you looks that you would otherwise not have had you not factored in that wrestling. So he really does a good job of factoring in that wrestling. Tom Aspinall is a slippery guy, though, and I would say, like today, I was watching Tom Aspinall talk about how he's dipping his hands in gas and petroleum to get him a little harder and stuff like that. These are some big boys. These are some big dudes. This is it's always a 50-50 in the sense that if somebody's chin gets touched the wrong way, you're going out. Your lights are going out.
Absolutely,
this is definitely going to be. I don't know. I don't see
this goes the distance. I don't think it will. I mean, even then, it's 5 rounds still. So
I would say that
more time.
Yeah, I would say that Tom Aspinall is. I agree with the Tom Aspinall pick. Today I'm convinced that Tom Aspinall is going to get that win after all the momentum and just who he is as a fighter. I think that Blades doesn't have like some Khabib level wrestling, but he definitely poses some difficulty to Tom. Again, Paddy Pimblett versus Bobby Green. Paddy's the younger fighter. Bobby's been in a bunch of wars. This will be a decent fight. I got Paddy winning that fight. Arnold Allen versus Chikadze. Yeah, I got Arnold winning that fight as well.
Yeah,
I would say. What would you say on that, Jeremy? I think it'd be a decision.
Yeah, I was gonna say Arnold Allen. I got Arnold Allen winning that one. I think it could go to decision because you get Chikadze. He's tough, but I just think Arnold Allen. I mean, the guy's just been on a roll lately, and he continues to show fight in, fight out that why he's in the UFC, why he's he's up and coming, why he's still a good prospect to watch. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for that one. But yeah, I do have Arnold Allen. I think Giga Chikadze. He's don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic fighter, and this fight is probably closer than many of us might think it will. I feel like based on what I've seen, based on what I've read from other places, a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, Arnold Allen's going to dominate, but I don't know. I think Giga Chikadze can come up with something.
Yeah.
And but ultimately I do have Arnold Allen winning that one still. Yeah.
Yeah, that same mentality even applies to like if we go into the world of boxing, like Crawford's next fight's gonna be it's gonna be a little bit more difficult than how people
Right.
are making it
Yeah.
seem.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I totally I think we see eye to eye on this. I would say that the more up in the air fights would definitely be like Curtis Blades
Yeah.
or maybe even Arnold Allen pick just because these guys are pretty well matched up. But I think Arnold Allen definitely has it. The Curtis Blades is only that heavyweights whenever they fight, it's always a 50-50 or a 45-55 type of like chance that somebody's going to come out on top just because of the power. And Curtis Blades has a lot of tools in the toolbox, but I think Tom Aspinall is the better pick for sure. So I really don't disagree with Jeremy on these.
But yeah. That's our picks.
Something that he likes, something that he's happy to hear because we be arguing about everything all the time.
I love
So
picking stuff for UFC. I love giving picks for UFC. I'm sure, although I do have kind of a bad track record. I'm not gonna lie, so I am a little scared. So please don't tail at your own risk if you if you're a betting person. But um, yeah, my track record is a little rough with UFC. But yeah, that's my picks. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, UFC is always more difficult than boxing just
it's
because
tough.
everybody's just so well matched, and there's just always so many tools in the toolbox when it comes to mixed martial
Always.
arts. That's the name
Yeah.
of the game. But yeah, that's what we got for UFC tomorrow. Let's see. We had breaking news come out. I don't know if you got the picture for that, Jeremy, but Noche UFC got announced like 10 minutes ago?
I did not get a graphic for that, but I can
Let me
pull
see.
one up.
Appreciate that.
That's sick though. What's it called? Grasso and Shevchenko. Tell you the truth, there's none that are showing the actual card itself. Um, but we do have
What's up?
Sean O'Malley, and Marab. You know, Marab Dvalishvili, and I believe co-main
Grasso
is
Shevchenko 3.
Grasso Shevchenko trilogy. And then Diego
Ortega
Lopez versus
Lopez.
Ortega is finally going to be on that card. Who else do we have? Um,
You have the graphic for that or
I do not.
okay.
Let's.
All right, let
Yeah,
me send
I
you a
think
graphic
it's
for that
still too soon because again, this was literally breaking.
Like right before we started the show, they
Yeah,
announced
right
this. Hold
before
on.
we started. I mean, so it's unfortunately, yeah, we don't have anything on that, but
I'll
yeah.
send you something. What would be your picks on the main event for that fight? Hold on, let me see.
Oh dang! All right, see you next Friday, Underground Go. Appreciate you joining us, man. Sean O'Malley versus Marab. Ooh, man. I hate to go against Sean O'Malley on this one, but
That's actually a tough one.
it's tough. Yeah, that one's a tough one, man. Because I mean,
Really?
Marab's wrestling. Yeah, Marab's wrestling is something else, man. But ultimately, I think Sean O'Malley is just gonna out jab him. Like he's gonna be so cautious. He's gonna keep his distance. He's also the lankier fighter.
Yeah.
But I think Sean O'Malley is going to take this one. I think he's going to get this one by decision. I really don't like. Again, I know he's going to keep his distance. However, if this goes to the
Yeah,
ground,
I see the same thing happening.
I'm not too confident in Sean O'Malley. So we'll see. This is kind of one of those fights that you might want to just like, wait until the first round is over to really gauge almost like how this is going to go. Yeah, but and then Grasso versus Shevchenko 3. I'm still gonna rock with Alexa Grasso, man. Every time that they fought, Alexa Grasso has dropped Valentina Shevchenko. I thought she won the second fight, no bias or nothing. I thought she won the second fight, but I guess there were certain things that the judges saw in Valentina that they liked more. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and rock with that one. Ortega versus Lopez obviously was supposed to happen on UFC 303, but obviously that one happened last minute, and Dan Ige and he's gone again. Dan Ige and Diego Lopez had that fantastic fight. I'm gonna still stick with Diego Lopez on this one. My feelings were very volatile when it came to Ortega versus Lopez, but it's all my feelings were very volatile when it came to Ortega versus Lopez, but I'm gonna still stick with Lopez on this one. I think he's gonna take it. And of course, there were two other fights that I just can't remember off the top of my head, so I can't really give my picks for those. But those are my picks for the big three. I feel of that card.
You said Lopez or did you say Ortega?
I said Lopez. I'm gonna stick with Lopez on this one.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with those. Yeah, I think Lopez is just a younger fighter. He has more punching power and ultimately just speed in general. And Ortega's kind of out of the game in the sense that he just hasn't been active.
Right. Yeah. Again, inactivity. I mean that does something. It does something. But
yeah.
Yeah. All right. But I guess I don't know. Should we shift gears back to boxing or?
Yeah, let's shift gears back into topics that we had.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit, I guess, about Jaime Munguia has joined Top Rank. What's in store for Jaime Munguia at Top Rank, and is he better off than he was with Golden Boy? I don't really know if he's actually left Golden Boy because Oscar De La Hoya just goes online and says that he's still with Golden Boy. I mean, he took a pretty vicious loss last time out against Canelo. I think honestly, it's I don't know. It's going to be like just an average event that they're going to be doing. There's nothing to really write home about with this in the sense that they're just trying to build back Jaime Munguia and try to make him into a star again after that pretty vicious loss that he had against Canelo. He's definitely a great fighter, but overall, I would just say that it's going to be a pretty average run unless they can match him up against like a Malibi or somebody of that type of nature.
Caleb Plant.
It's going to be a pretty average run. Damn, Jeremy.
I want to see Caleb Plant, man. I want to see Caleb Plant and Jaime Munguia go at it, but that's just me. I don't know.
That could probably get done. I mean, as long as the Saudis get involved.
It can. Whether it be in Saudi Arabia, I don't think so, but I think they could do a nice little Vegas card. I think that could sell enough.
Yeah.
But I do want to see it. But yeah, Oscar De La Hoya is like a crazy ex-girlfriend going online on Instagram and saying that Jaime Munguia is still with Golden Boy. I don't know. Based on news outlets, to me, based on what they're saying, based on what the news outlets are saying, I want to say Jaime Munguia has completely – well, I don't know about completely, but he's definitely cut his ties with Golden Boy, and he's now moving towards Top Rank, which is great, because I feel like again, I've said this on this stream before, but Golden Boy is where the stars go to die. And I keep reiterating that. Golden Boy, once their fighters reach a certain point of hype, fame, whatever you want to call it, they no longer know how to promote that fighter. The only person that they found success with that was Ryan Garcia. However, I feel that many people could have known the name Munguia before Canelo. However, I feel many didn't know the name Munguia after Canelo. Or I'm sorry, I meant to say many didn't know the name Munguia before Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's fought Canelo, now people know who Jaime Munguia is. But people should have known about Jaime Munguia long before he fought Canelo, because he was like 43-0 and had a crazy finishing percentage. And he wasn't fun to watch, So this is what I mean when I say, but I like this move for him. I think it's fantastic. And honestly, if it leads to bigger and better things for him, even better because he really can become the next. I think he can become the next Mexican superstar. I'm calling it right now. He will become the next Mexican superstar. So we'll see. I think he can generate some crazy pay-per-view buys one day if he just continues to do his thing. And now that he's under a promotion like Top Rank, I think it's gonna be even easier for him to kind of get his name out there and whatnot. But that's just what I think on that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what you said is it's somewhat true. I would say that like in terms of Golden Boy, they've had, I think, pretty much a pretty inconsistent time just promoting in general in the past few years. But I got to say that in the sport of boxing, it's all inconsistent. Golden Boy partnered up with PBC to make Ryan versus Tank. Obviously, the reason why Golden Boy probably doesn't get the pay-per-views and the things that they want to get a lot of times is because I would say that it really comes down to the fighters and whether they want to fight each other. What we saw with Cepeda versus Shakur, it didn't make sense. They're not going to sell. But they've been somewhat successful even during a time that they're not as consistent as they were in the past, in the sense that Tank versus Ryan sold about 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. That's probably better than any UFC event that's come out since McGregor versus Poirier. So when they do come together and they make some pretty massive events,
Yeah,
just that at times I guess the boxer usually, I think, as they get bigger they tend to get more into making their own promotions, as we're seeing with Canelo. Canelo's making Canelo promotions. Little by little he'll start getting away from the big four that we see in boxing. So this might be Munguia's next step. Top Rank definitely has a good stable for him. Hopefully they could utilize him the best that they can. Is he the future of Mexican boxing? I would say that probably in the foreseeable future he is, but there's definitely other guys that are ready to surpass him in the next 5 years. But I mean, he's a good boxer, and
that's fair. That's fair.
after him.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm still gonna rock with him though. I feel that he's gonna be what's it called? I feel that he's gonna be the best one out of any future uh, Mexican middleweight, super middleweight.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely going to have the most star power, the most leeway when it comes to negotiations out of all of them. Out of all of them,
Yeah.
as to say he'll get to the level of Canelo, I won't go at that far, but I think he can one day, become kind of the icon that Canelo has become, in the sense that he's like, whenever whenever Munguia is fighting, there will be carne asada thrown on the grill. There will be everybody gathering to watch this. That's what I think Jaime Munguia's career will come to.
Mhm.
But I like this move. I like this move. I love it actually. So we'll see. We'll see if my theory about Golden Boy is right. Hopefully, maybe.
Let's move into our next topic, because we've been talking a lot about Canelo. So considering that we got Canelo versus Berlanga has finally been announced, is this a good move for Canelo? I mean, we covered this a little bit earlier. Everybody is really trashing this event because they wanted to see Canelo fight Munguia. I honestly think it's a pretty decent event for Canelo. It's the next best thing. He really doesn't want to fight Benavidez.
No,
So
not at all.
so taking a fight against Berlanga is the second best thing to do, in the sense that Berlanga brings in a whole nother fan base. He brings in that New York flair. I would just have to say that, this is a good fight. It's not really a fight that we wanted to definitely see, but hey, honestly, it's still a great boxing match. But definitely we all wanted to see Benavidez versus Canelo. We didn't really want to see this.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. I agree. I would have much rather seen Canelo versus Benavidez. But you know what? We still can't deny the fact that we're going to tune into this one. And this is what I've been saying. No matter what Canelo does, people are going to watch. And honestly, I feel like people are going to watch here because once again, Mexico versus Puerto Rico are going at it. Um, I'm definitely going to watch because I don't know if I've said this already on stream, but I don't like Edgar Berlanga. I don't think the guy is anything special. Yes, he got KOs early in his career, but one that was against, I feel like that was a bunch of versus a bunch of tomato cans. And then the minute he got some decent competition, he not only was not able to finish the person, but he, had close decisions. That's never a good sign for a prospect. That's I think that's a sign for like hype jobs, I believe. But ultimately, I think this fight. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I always love when there's a Canelo fight on. I don't know. I find them entertaining. I feel like just the vibe is very different. I've always said, I've said this multiple times, time in, time out, but that I always love the vibe of it's one of these things where it has a big fight feel. It's in Vegas. It's at the T-Mobile Arena. People will be excited. People will definitely talk about this one. Obviously not as much as if he fought Benavidez, but you know what? People are still going to tune in because it's Canelo. So I'm just going to take what I can get. I'm going to enjoy this one. Yes, I would prefer if it was Benavidez, but ultimately it's Canelo. I'm going to watch. I'm going to tune in, and I'm going to have a good time watching it. So that's what I got to say about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it brings a different vibe whenever he fights. It's just, it's the way it is, If he doesn't fight Benavidez, and people are just not going to be interested. Another guy that people would, just transitioning a little bit, another guy that I don't know how many people would be interested in watching him fight, but he may actually end up fighting, in my opinion, I would say maybe close to his retirement just for the money, is Jake Paul. And this is our last topic of today, but Jake Paul, is he ready to fight real boxers in their prime after his last performance against Mike Perry? And if so, what's the deal here? Why is he going to be fighting Mike Tyson when he may or may not be ready to fight? I mean, I guess, somewhat good level boxers to this point.
Yeah. I want to say this, yeah. Let's see. Well, what's your take on that? Like, do you think he's ready? Do you think he's not ready? Do you think he's nowhere near ready?
I definitely think he's ready to at least fight real boxers, that have themselves, across the board. I would say that, it shows when he fights, a fighter like this, like Mike Perry, who's, a bare knuckle champion, and he really made him look easy, and he really introduced him to the sport of boxing and said, hey, this is a totally different domain. And he's going to do that with Mike Tyson, to be quite honest with you. And I'm honestly just looking past that fight because I think it's ridiculous. I don't think he should be fighting a 60-year-old man or close to 60-year-old man. He's got to fight the better opposition. It is what it is, Yeah. I mean, find ourselves here. I think he's ready for tougher competition, not Canelo. I bring that up only because I think that will eventually be a thing that happens, just because if Jake really builds towards it and people are there to watch it, it's going to happen. And I mean, he's not going to win, in my opinion, but he's, putting the right steps in to definitely get used to it. He's putting the rounds in. He's beating, guys that are beatable. So, yeah. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Like, do you think that he can definitely move up in competition? Do you think that he's just – what did you see in his last performance overall?
I'm not gonna lie, I certainly didn't expect him to, dominate Mike Perry in the way that he did. But again, we have to remember that it's Mike Perry. This guy's a bare knuckle fighter, and this is a boxing match. It's two completely different skill sets. Yes, you can say you're only throwing hands in bare knuckle fighting, and that's understandable. However, they are two completely different skill sets. Same way boxing and MMA don't translate well into each other. They just don't. So we have to keep that in mind. So with that being said, I definitely want to see him fight high level competition, or not high level competition, but I definitely want to see him fight actual boxers, actual better competition. However, if he chooses not to, one, he's just still going to be seen as a joke, which again, plenty of people still see him as a joke. But I mean, you got to give the guy credit. He's fighting, he's stepping in the ring, and he's people are tuning in. So people are still watching. And that's great for him. I mean, he is bringing attention to the sport. Um, but I think it is time for him to fight. Um, I think it is time for him to fight actual boxers now. I don't think no more old men, no more MMA fighters. It's time for him to fight actual boxers. And that's what everybody's gonna. I feel everybody's gonna say that it's time for him to fight actual boxers. But I also
Yeah.
don't. What I also don't want to see is him fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. for
Hmm.
a fake belt made by the WBC.
Yeah.
That's what we can't have that. We
Yeah.
can't have that. It's not a good look for the sport.
Hmm.
And the sport is just going to be, people are just going to continue calling boxing a circus because honestly, if
Yeah.
something like that happens, I mean that it's not a good look. It's not. It never is. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I think on that. I think it is time for him to step up the competition. Honestly, if the Mike Tyson fight gets canceled, he needs to find a new opponent. No more waiting around for 60-year-old
Definitely.
Mike Tyson.
No, yeah, and I mean, look, by the way, I put in the chat. We're gonna have to end it off in a bit. Me and Jeremy have been going on for like an hour now. We've been really involved in this whole arena.
Yeah,
But
there's been lots to talk about.
look, to whoever's watching and stuff like that, Jake Paul definitely has to take another step up. I believe that it probably will be in fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and it probably will be for some sort of belt. I think that the WBC has been priming, all the sanctioning bodies have been priming for him to get
Yeah.
a belt since they
It's
introduced that
crazy.
205 to the 210-pound division that nobody really asked for. That's that division that's right above cruiserweight, right in the middle of heavyweight. They're introducing that division for guys like Jake, for guys that are MMA fighters. This division, it's not a real division that really is for boxing. It's for really entertainers and stuff like that. But that want to come in and have the weight behind them to try to knock out opponents that might be a little more technical. But honestly, I think that Jake's probably going to fight Chavez for a belt like that, and he might end up winning a belt, and it might be some sort of top contender thing or something like that, and they're going to find a way to get him a belt. But is that really what he should be looking for in his career? I don't know. It's not going to. I mean, look, it's great for accolades, but in reality, it's not really
Doesn't
great for
mean
legacy.
anything.
He's got to fight Tommy Fury one more, again, take back that loss, and then from there go into fighting real opponents. Then look into like that guy that fought recently in the 5v5 card. What was his name? I think he's like a light heavyweight.
Jaio Pataya?
Yeah.
Oh man, Opataya is gonna kill him.
That's true. I think that he
is a title holder now.
He is a title holder, but I think that Jake should be. I think that should be his aim. His aim should not be Canelo because
I get what you're saying. Long term, right? Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
I think that if he wants to get real respect, he should fight up the ranks. In an actual division, fight. A champion 3 years down the line.
Yeah.
And then he'll have ultimate respect and be a real champion.
Nothing tailor made for him, and that's honestly what it's looking like right now. Stuff is getting tailor made for him left and right in terms of like what the sanctioning bodies are doing for him. Man, if we see Jake Paul as an undisputed champion, I am gonna lose faith in the sport, to be honest. if he somehow becomes undisputed.
I know. Oh shoot. Yeah, no, I know. I definitely know. Hopefully we don't lose hope in the sport by the time we get on, next stream.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I'm happy to, I'm happy we're all back, Jeremy. It's been a bit. So
absolutely.
We're going to be back next week. We'll be talking more combat sports news. But thank you all for whoever was able to come in and ask us questions and get involved in talking about combat sports. It's been a great time. Our 8th time, Jeremy.
8th.
Been the combat sports guy.
Can't wait for number 10.
All right. Peace out, y'all.